the very first episode of Build Right with LASBCA. Hello Lagos, my name is Onyoluwaseyi, and anchoring this show with me is
I'm Damola Grace Ajiboye.
I'm very sure our audience is wondering what Build Right with LASBCA is all about. Build Right with LASBCA has been put together by the Lagos State Building Control Agency for you to get to know more about our daily operations, how we go about our activities.
Please be a reminder, this program isn't just for professionals, it is for everyone. Property owners, developers, users, basically everyone are stakeholders in the community. And you can also follow us on our social media platforms, YouTube channel at LASBCA Television, Instagram LASBCA.agency1, Twitter LASBCA, and Facebook LASBCA. LASBCA is spelled LASBCA. So send in your comments, your concerns, your observations about distressed buildings or illegal constructions in your environment.
That's what the agency is clamoring for. See something, say something. Let's get right to today's episode. On today's episode, we're going to be doing the introduction of LASBCA. Now let's watch the A to Z of LASBCA to educate us more about the agency.
We still have so much to unpack for you on this episode, so stay tuned and don't go anywhere.
A to Z of LASBCA. The Lagos State Building Control Agency, LASBCA, came into being through the Lagos State Urban and Regional Planning and Development Law of 2010, but officially started in August 12, 2012. It is an agency set up to ensure that basic minimum standards are maintained in building construction and renovation in order to ensure that existing and new buildings are safe, healthy, accessible, and habitable for present and future generations. The agency works with developers, owners, and professionals in the built industry to provide quality service and ensure that building constructions are satisfactorily carried out. LASBCA also works closely with other government agencies to achieve its responsibility of a safe, secured, and habitable building in the state. Our vision is to ensure that buildings in Lagos State are designed, constructed, and maintained to high standards of safety so as to avoid loss of lives and properties. Through its building regulatory system, we aim to achieve zero building collapse in the state. Our mission is to lead and transform the building construction industry by enhancing skills and professionalism, as well as improving designs and construction capabilities. The core activities of the agency: stage certification, the issuance of green check sticker, the issuance of certificate of completion and fitness for habitation. The processes involved in obtaining the certificate are as follows. Obtain a planning permit from Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority, LASBCA. Proceed to LASBCA with a letter of intention to commence construction alongside the development permits obtained. Officers are dispatched to site to a certain status, that is, ensure that the site is vacant. A file is opened at the agency for the developer. A letter of authorization is issued by the agency to start construction after the submission of required documents, which includes a green sticker is issued on submission of all required documents. Project board is to be installed on site. The developer must send a letter of invitation for stage, giving a 7 days notice at every stage throughout construction to completion, including external works and fittings. On completion, a final joint stage inspection will be carried out by the consultants and the agency. The developer can request and be granted the certificate of completion and habitation. Advantages of the certificate. It ensures that the completed structure is built according to design specification. It ensures that the structure is safe for habitation or use since professionals were involved in the construction process. It could serve as veritable collateral for loan facility. It adds to the value of the building. It assures the occupants of the stability of the building and ultimately their safety. Enforcement for compliance activities. Public enlightenment. Build well, build right. LASBCA cares. I'm very sure our audience now know a little bit more about LASBCA. It's no longer the usual, which is LASBCA removes buildings or just seal distressed buildings, or maybe just even post notices. Tell me, what do you think?
I think there are a lot of misconceptions about what Lagos State Building Control does. And one of the things we want to do with this show is to enlighten you and educate you more about the processes that leads to identifying this distressed or illegal buildings and then recommending that they should be removed. That means when these buildings are identified, it most likely means they're not conforming to the building standards of Lagos State. So it's a need full show. I think it would help to reduce all of those misconceptions and maybe stop calling us woolly woolly or something of the like.
Moving forward, we'll be talking to one of our supervising directors at the district, who is a professional in the built industry. She's going to be telling us how they go about their activities at the district level.
Yes, it's going to educate us on what's right and what isn't in building construction. So please stay with us and we'll be right back.
I am builder Mrs. Olawi Oluwafumilola, the supervising director for Bariga District, Lagos State Building Control Agency. The coverage area of Bariga begins from Bagada Phase 1 to Bagada Phase 2, the estate there, Ilaje area or Koka area. We equally have Obanikoro along a Ikorodu Road axis, and we have Ososa area. We have Ososa area as well. Speaking about our mode of operations, as a building control agency, our officers of the Lagos State Building Control Agency, our main core duty is managing constructions, developments, the ones in use, the ones that are just being developed, renovations, the ones to be demolished, and distressed buildings as well. So on a daily basis, we go out monitoring. One, to identify buildings that do not have planning permits, not covered by planning permits. The buildings that do not have renovation permits, undergoing renovations, we equally as well we identify the distressed buildings, the ones that are showing various signs of distress. We serve them. We bring them under the law. We ensure that the right things are done. And to the ones that have approval and are under development, we ensure that we stage, as in from time to time we visit to ensure that the needful is done, that they are conforming with the approvals, that they are adhering to the standards of construction in terms of safety, in terms of quality and the like. A distressed building is a building that had been existing and had been put to use over many years, that is now showing signs of either cracks, exposed reinforcements, dampness, severe settlement, spalling, to mention but a few. To the ones that are not already showing severe signs, we serve them. We encourage them or insist that they conduct a non-destructive test. The non-destructive test will tell us the stability, the structural integrity of that building. When the result is generated either from the Lagos State Material Testing Laboratory or the approved laboratories by the Lagos State government, we do appraisal, or we ask their engineer to do appraisal of such buildings. And when such is done, the recommendation of the non-destructive test would be adhered to. Either the building is renovated, refurbished, as the case may be. Issue of a building collapse had been a worrisome issue to the government in general and to each and every one of us. But as at present, all we do, or we've been trying to do, is to ensure that people comply with the law. These days, nobody is permitted to commence development or be developing without obtaining planning permits. Having obtained a planning permit, you are meant to obtain authorization from Lagos State Building Control Agency. Having obtained the authorization, it means the building will be staged from one level to another. We equally ensure that site or developers obtain or engage the service of professionals. That is, on every construction site, there must be registered professionals, or there must be a registered civil engineer. The builders must be there, the registered architect must be there to see to the construction work as it progresses. And by such, we minimize collapse of building. We can equally talk about the design stage. While before the design, you may need to conduct the soil test investigation, which will be a pointer to the type of foundation that would be designed, which will equally be one of the elements that will prevent collapse of buildings. We equally encourage the use of standard materials that had either been tested by the Lagos State Material Testing Laboratory in terms of the reinforcement, in terms of all the materials that are being used, so that the substandard materials are not being put to use on the construction site. We equally encourage the use of trained artisans that would undertake the job. To a large extent, from the inception of the launching of the certificate, we have been trying to intimate people, to educate them, to inform them that there is a product that would be nice for them, both for the old and the new buildings. And as such, we have served some people letters from the agency asking them to come up to collect their certificate of fitness, meaning they would write a letter of application. Certain requirements will be given to them. They are meant to comply with those requirements, after which the certificate will be issued if such building is found fit and suitable for such certificate. The district we are in, Bariga, is filled with a lot of hoodlums, area boys, and a host of others. So sometimes when we go out on our normal duties, we have people, you understand, harassing on the street, harassing the officers, doing one thing or the other just to stop the activities of today. On our own, we have tried on several occasions to manage them, to make them to understand the reason why we must carry out our normal duties and such. But to say there isn't harassment is not telling the truth.
Welcome back. I hope you learned a thing or two from that interview.
Yeah, and now it is time to get to another interesting segment on this show. We'll be speaking to you on the street of Lagos.
You can also join this conversation on our social media pages that will be on your screen.
Incidences of building collapse. Well, I would say they are trying their best, but they need some other instrument to enable them perform optimally. Instruments that can be used to detect a distressed building, and they need to employ professionals who can go to the site where building construction is being effected, so that they can nip whatever might cause the collapse of such building in the bud before it gets to to the finishing point. When you see cracks appearing on buildings, if care is not taken year in, year out, after a while, it may collapse, depending if it is not well reinforced.
Can I know you?
My name is Afolabi Babatunde. I got to know about LASBCA recently, like say a year or two now, I'm sorry, because of that recurring building collapse over time. So then I used to see sign, a red sign and a seal, and I see LASBCA. I begin to wonder what is this sign, and I actually find out. Luckily again, I followed up, and I think I know about them. They control building. They try to see as much as possible to reduce the effect of building collapse. And I've heard when they've been blamed or been questioned over time, and I see more of them coming out. So every time I see a building, I see that sign, I say LASBCA is there. And there's something going on in this building, something needs to be done on this building, like that, like that, like that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Afolabi. You know, you said you've been seeing a sign on the building. If you see a distressed building, can you detect one?
Okay, since I am not an engineer, okay, but sometimes our sixth sense too tells us this building is distressed. There are buildings, of course, you see cracks around the walls. There are buildings already you see water already soaked, or you see the foundation already soaked in water. Or you see, and there's some building also you realize that the roof itself or the floors are shaking. So when you look at it, something needs to tell you that this is a distressed building and something needs to be done.
What advice can you give to LASBCA?
Okay, I want to confess here that I think LASBCA has been doing awesomely well. Okay, I must confess that in recent time that I've been observing, because I took my time to start watching and I realized that they're doing extremely well. So I want to advise LASBCA to continue the pace. There is need for them. The more they work, the more they save more lives. The more they get to their job and do more, the more they allow people to live long. And there should not be sentiment or emotion attached to anything that has to do with distress building or affect the building, because it ends up affecting the life of people. So LASBCA needs to do more, continue their effort, and ensure that sentiment and individual interest does not override their own call to duty and assignments.
Thank you, Ronke, for that segment.
There you have it, guys. We've come to the end of today's episode of Build Right with LASBCA. The show has been entertaining, educating, and enlightening, and I'm sure you guys can say the same.
Yes, you can also catch a recap of this episode on our YouTube, and don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms. They'll be on your screen for you to just click, like, and share.
Until you come your way next time, remember to build well, build right. LASBCA cares.
We do. Bye, everyone.